here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sportswriter Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
A cool bus, maybe, version, as Bob Stevens, along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico, talk about going back to school. I guess that the first thing that makes me think of is college football,
right,
or high school football, or whatever state you are in life. College football has already begun. We're going to preview the season a little bit in the next couple of minutes. Won't be a long preview, but we're going to look back.
Well, the biggest
Florida State, you won the big.
Florida State got beat by Georgia Tech. Huge upset. All off season, it was Knowles. Everybody talking about Florida State because, of course, last year they went 13-0 or something and didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
They were America's victim.
Oh.
And complaining. And of course, Norville, the coach Mike Norville, for 2 years has done nothing but, beat up on the ACC and sue the ACC and, diminished his own league. And so, it's no surprise that when Norville gets beat, the whole ACC is happy. No, it's right.
They have sole possession of 17th place in the conference right now.
Good for them.
Isn't that nice?
That's good for them.
Somebody this weekend might have sole possession of 18th place in the Big Ten, but holy cow!
Well, they were, Tech. Georgia Tech is a second division team in the ACC basically, and I think Florida State was 10-point favorite.
Something like
10,
that.
yeah.
And,
Well, it started out like 12 and a half, went down to 10 and a half.
Tech only won by a field goal in the last second, but they beat them up. Beat them up all game. They won in the trenches. They had the ball more. I mean, it was just a beatdown.
The funny thing, you talk about Florida State going unbeaten last year and missing the playoffs. They've lost their first game this year, and yet they're not out. I mean, by any means,
that's true.
they're
That's
not
true,
out.
but
There's a whole lot of football to be
true, but
played.
that loss
And
hurts
now,
them.
but now, there could be 2 lost teams make the playoffs. Now that you've got 12 teams instead of 4, there's going to be. If they run the table now, they're in.
Well, if they run the
the
table,
table,
they may
yeah.
have to run the table to get.
Yeah, they may have to.
But I want to go back to the Georgia Tech team. Their coaches, their coach and quarterback coach is Brent Key.
Yeah.
And Hayes King is quite. I mean, Hayes. These names sound Hayes King, Brent Key. They sound like guys. And King is really terrific. I mean, he really commanded the game. And I remember personal unhappiness these guys created for me last year in Chapel Hill when Georgia Tech went in there and
Same quarterback.
He went in and beat Drake May in a shootout. It was 46-42. But I just noticed how much better the coaching was at Georgia Tech. This guy's really a good coach.
He is a very good coach.
You can see that sometimes in a game. Of course,
Sure.
It's not an overwhelming proposition to outcoach, Mac Brown. But it was a shock, I think, to a lot of people around the country.
But they went into Chapel Hill last year, like you said, and beat them. Georgia Tech also went into Miami and beat Miami last year.
Yeah, this guy.
So a lot of people are taking them. They're in the middle of the road, to bottom of the ACC. But don't be shocked if they're at the top, playing for a championship in the ACC. Florida's perfect thing about Florida State is they'll use transfer portal guys to come in because they lost a lot. They had a great team. They lost a lot. So when you bring all these new guys in, they have to mesh. It takes time, and sometimes it doesn't even happen. Sometimes it doesn't work out for it to make it happen. So I'm not surprised Florida State lost. I was not surprised.
You weren't?
No. I really wasn't. I really wasn't surprised.
He had big money on Georgia Tech.
No, I wish I did.
You weren't that far.
The guy that Florida State got out of the portal to quarterback is
Guy from Clemson.
Ukulele.
That's right there. They're in trouble.
Well, and he went to Oregon State. He didn't do anything here. He's a picture of mediocrity. This guy.
Right.
And I don't. I think they're going to lose 3 or 4 games.
All their passes were in the flat. They didn't go down the field. That's exactly what happened with Clemson. He never went down the field. You know what that means? That means the coaching staff they don't trust him. That's what that means.
They've always had terrific quarterbacks at Florida State. And you're right. Norville doesn't trust this guy.
Nope.
This weekend, some great
Clemson,
week 1 games.
Georgia.
Clemson, Georgia, at Atlanta. you think Clemson maybe,
killer offense.
are they good enough that if they play with a chip on their shoulder like they're going to, because everybody's down on Clemson,
Right.
that maybe they could do something here?
They could.
Georgia's,
Georgia's too good.
To follow your point, though, Georgia has its quarterback. You know, they've got their quarterback. They've got
That's the Heisman
Candidate, yeah.
I mean,
for
they've
sure.
got
I didn't
people.
realize how big he is. He's like 6'5", isn't he?
Yeah.
The Georgia quarterback.
Yeah, they're all
Which name
nowadays. They're all
Can't remember.
crazy size.
I want to bring up another Florida
yeah.
school. Though, before.
Yeah, let's talk Miami and Florida.
International University,
Yeah.
which the other week ceded their naming rights to their stadium
Yes.
to the one and only Mr. Worldwide Pitbull.
That's Pitbull. Yeah.
So the name of the stadium is going to be Pitbull Stadium. So,
What?
well, Pitbull's a Miami guy. You know, he's Mr. 305.
But
Mr.
the stadium's going to be
144.
called Pitbull?
Yeah, and he's paying 1.2 million to FIU for 5 years,
Yeah.
and he's going to get his naming rights. He's going to write supposedly an anthem for when they come on the field.
Nice.
He's going to do some speaking engagements. Well, I like it. I think he's great. I think he's a.
Can he recruit?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the important
name
thing.
of the
Can he,
game, right?
and will he write NIL checks? Can he do those two things?
His real name is Armando Christian Perez, and he said he had a great line. He says, "This is history in the making. You're going to see every university, try to do this." I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
surprised.
yeah.
Just think of the celebrities and
Sure.
and the naming rights. They could have, for instance, Spike Lee Square Garden. Name the garden. They could have
Spike
William Murray Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
And,
McConaughey would write
McConaughey,
a check to Texas. Yeah,
stadium.
That's right.
All right. Stadium. That's a good one. I like that.
Well, Texas, that'd be good, yeah.
The Chiefs have already turned over, the Taylor Swift being there so
Sure.
much. It's no longer Arrowhead, it's Arrow Swift
Arrow Swift, got it.
Stadium, right?
That's good.
So it's
Good stuff.
See, that stuff drives me crazy. Like we watch baseball games now, and they have on their uniform, some
But,
insurance company.
at least
or
it's just the patch. I mean,
know, but still
like the WNBA and now soccer teams. I mean, you
It's
can't
all-
tell who the team is. They never have the
Right,
team's
right.
name on anything. So
Well,
hopefully,
baseball, it's true, but still, it takes away the purity of the game. I don't like it.
I-
See a Yankee uniform with I don't even know what the company is.
yeah, some investment company. It's not even a big.
20 million,
How
cost
about
them
the
20
golf?
million.
It's written
golfers.
It's written into tennis too, but golfers have like 6 different patches on
Right,
their
right.
shirts.
Plus on their hat.
Now the
On
tennis
their hat,
tennis
yeah.
players are doing that. Now.
Yeah.
And they get paid tremendous amounts of money, I guess.
I guess I don't blame them. I just don't like it.
Yeah, all right.
Have we got time in this college football
Sure,
session to throw your boy
My boy.
Michigan's
Oh, my boy.
Jim Harbaugh, please?
Well, he's a pro guy now. We'll talk to him in the pro
No, but
setting.
wait a minute.
All right.
He was still an NCAA guy, a
Yes.
coach guy, when the NCAA has
Yes.
banned him for 4 years from coaching.
And I bet he is.
He's-
I bet he is just crestfallen by that
Well,
ban for the next 4 years from coaching college
and
football.
they found him liable in this cheating scandal with the guy, what's his
Connor
name?
Stallion?
Connor Stallion has
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
name, which was the guy going around, and of course Harbaugh said he didn't do anything. But it's interesting. Harbaugh's successor, Sharon Moore,
Yeah.
also was charged in this cheating scandal, and they haven't said anything about him.
Because
He's
I'm
still-
sure he's going to say Harbaugh
he's
did
still-
it. Hey,
well, they're
everybody
all
ought to just
saying-
blame it
yeah,
on
yeah,
Harbaugh
yeah.
because he'll take it.
Meanwhile, Harbaugh had been invited. Did you see this to be the honorary coach
Yeah.
of the opening game against Fresno State? Honorary captain, I guess.
Yeah.
Which he probably accepted
Absolutely.
until these charges. Yeah. And now
He's busy.
He's busy. He said, "I'm not going to do it." His mother and father are going to do it, though.
Wow.
His mother and father are going to be the honorary captains, which is great. Meanwhile, I loved Harbaugh's defense when they caught him. He said, "I did not participate. I do not apologize. Never lie. Never cheat. Now it's back to work with enthusiasm unknown to mankind."
That's his line.
He's such a douche. I mean, when
I listened to a press conference with him last night about the. We'll talk about it later about the elevator.
No, let's talk about it.
Oh,
we got to. Oh, yeah, he was amazing in the elevator. Yeah.
I mean, he's sitting there. This is a grown man with professional athletes, and he's talking about like there were 6-year-olds in the elevator. They survived the elevator for 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
And
Leadership.
I'm so proud of them, and I wish I was on the elevator with them too.
He said, I wish could be with my boys.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert, you know, he came out and his shirt wasn't even wet. Only his hair was wet.
He said he's a beast. He's
because he was in an elevator for 2 hours.
Well, and he praised his leadership.
Yes.
Leadership. I think leadership is saying, wait a minute, why not 6 guys go in this elevator, not 15?
Yeah.
That's, he showed a little common sense would be leadership, right?
Well, wait a minute. Common sense and leadership aren't necessarily, one and the same.
Well, I know, but you would think.
Should be,
our
but
leader, you think our leader would have common sense to say, wait a minute, guys, 15 on this elevator, we're going to be crushed in there, right? Which they were.
Right.
So,
and the elevator's not going to work.
Harbaugh's going on and on about it. It's a great
I mean,
thing.
when you
He
listen
said,
to his
he
speak,
called it
he's-
the W's. He said, this is a W. It's a win. This was a win. It's a great
Because they
experience.
survived.
It's a great experience.
They bonded together. They're better teammates now.
They're going to need to have that win if they're ever going to even dream of making the playoffs.
Exactly.
They're going to let them
that
count
might be one of their few W's
Yeah,
this
that
year.
might
See, they go the Chargers.
Their biggest win of the year turns out to be the.
Well, we were in the elevator together.
At least when the trapped people came off the elevator, at least he didn't shout at them like he always said, who has it better than you?
That's right.
Nobody.
Good stuff.
Oh, when you listen to
man.
that press conference, it's ridiculous. It's a grown man talking about.
Who has it better than Notre Dame and Texas A&M this weekend?
That'll be a great game. That should be a very good game.
Notre Dame thinks they're in the conversation, and nobody wants to put them there. And
Is that a night
A&M
game?
always
It's a
thinks
night
so.
game, right?
I think so, and I think it's at
And
College Station.
It
Georgia
is.
Clemson are playing at noon.
That's right.
It's way too early for me. I'm on the beach. I mean, it's way too early.
Don't interrupt your
You'll be
beach
on the
time.
And if it's
beach.
really hot day,
You'll be on the
it'd
beach.
be 95 at noon,
True.
right?
Yep.
In Athens. They're playing
No,
Atlanta.
that's
They landed in
the
the dome.
inside.
Yeah,
It's
they're in the
inside.
dome. They're
It's
in the
inside.
dome. They're
Nobody will die then.
Southern Carolina this weekend.
That's a
That'll
good
be a good one. Penn State, West Virginia. That's got
The backyard
upset.
brawl.
That could be at West Virginia.
Yeah, it's at West
I'm not a
Virginia.
big Franklin head coach. I'm not a big fan of him.
I like him as a person. Because he seems to be.
Nice.
He doesn't cheat. He doesn't talk about the money. It's not that it's
But
about his
he
guys.
doesn't win the big games.
He's 10-2. He keeps
He'll
losing
win
twice.
10 again this year, but he won't win the big games.
Yeah, he has struggled with that. My upset of the week, though,
Yes.
South Dakota State will go into Oklahoma State and whoop up on the Cowboys.
Wow.
Mike Gundy?
Mike Gundy.
Mike Gundy's going to get beat? That's too bad.
He's a man. He's
It's too
50
bad.
now.
Well, we're talking about people, considering people who don't cheat. There is Connor Stallions still around. Of course,
Yes,
he claims he didn't cheat.
Yeah.
He got a job
Yeah.
at a high school in Detroit,
Yes.
Mumford High.
Mumford High.
And he's going to be defense coordinator at Mumford High.
You know what has made Mumford High famous? Remember Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes.
Okay, what was our Beverly Hills Cop? What was he
Oh,
wearing?
his name.
A Mumford
Yeah,
T-shirt.
that's right.
Oh, wow.
Remember, he had a
Mumford.
Mumford. Seemed
Yeah.
like he had a
Yeah.
Mumford T-shirt on. Anyway,
Cool.
Well, the defensive
gets us
coordinator
there.
is called Connor Stallions. He
Okay.
says he's a great addition. He's gonna help us prepare the kids for college.
I'm sure he will.
Right, yeah.
All right, upset special from anybody?
Steel signs.
My upset is West Virginia beating Penn State.
I think that could happen. You got one? Mizzou gonna lose?
No, I didn't even look at the schedule.
Who's playing at Colorado? There's a
Oh, yeah, it's on TV too. It's
isn't-
Thursday night.
Isn't it like
Thursday
North
night.
Dakota State or something
Yeah.
playing at Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado.
Beware those really good, second level schools like
Right.
South Dakota State, like North Dakota beats State beats one of them
Sure,
every year.
every year, yeah.
Speaking of Colorado,
Yes.
can we
You wanna talk about
sort of
Deion?
pitch Deion, your boy Deion Sanders? I mean,
Wait a minute, is my boy Harbaugh or is my boy Dion?
Both.
I can only have one boy.
No, you got two. You got two.
I mean, talk about manipulating the NIL, which is, I was going to talk about Gundy. Did
Yeah.
you see what his deal is now?
Yeah.
He puts a what's it called?
QR code. Yeah, on the back of their helmets.
On the back of the helmets, so you can watch the game at home and go on the QR code and send money to a player.
To a player.
Or a
Yeah.
kicker, or a punter, or
Kicker misses the field goal, you'll want your money back.
or
But if
they-
you,
You take money in, and then when he misses the field goal, you pull it away.
I don't know if you can pull it away.
Gundy says it's a revolutionary step forward to keep Oklahoma State ahead of the game. Well, yeah, ahead of the police, ahead of the authorities. That's, these are the type of guys that are going to manipulate this thing.
Right.
Can you imagine what Deion Sanders
No.
is already done probably or doing now?
Didn't he go to Saudi
You know-
Arabia and try to get from one of the kings there some
Saudi
money from
Arabia?
So
Really?
there was some, seriously, it's a foreign country that he tried to get the king or somebody who has a lot of money to have money. University of Colorado.
That's the Colorado travel budget he's got.
If we cross him though, he won't let us ask him any questions. 'Cause,
Well,
that's happened to
I think it's
the
pathetic.
Boulder
He's had-
newspaper.
Yeah, well, he's had this whole bit-thon with the press
Yeah.
all off season. And now you see what it's a policy now at
Yeah.
Colorado, that he's not gonna talk to, what's the name? The guy at,
From the Denver paper, right?
Denver Post,
Denver
Sean
Post.
Keeler.
Yeah.
And now he's got the whole athletic department, he's got them to make it a policy that nobody talks to Sean Keeler.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. This is not new, of course, everybody, but, they said, we're not
Fortunately,
talking to
nobody
Keeler.
ever did that to you.
Well, I was gonna bring this up, after I, but
There
I
are a
wanna,
few who probably wanted to,
well, I
but
wanna tell you what Sean Keeler, they especially noted
Yeah.
that some of his descriptions of he called Deion a false prophet. Big deal. Deposition Deion, Planet Prime, Deion Kool-Aid, and he's a Bruce Lee of BS. He called him Bruce Lee of BS. I mean,
Well,
he's
you've
writing
told-
funny
you've
columns.
told
He's
people
writing, I was
a lot worse than that.
That sounds familiar. I mean, he's just putting humor into his columns about
Sure.
Deion, who acts the a-hole half the time anyway. And he's a bully, and now he's not talking to this guy. And he's had it with a TV station, their local TV station. He went after somebody. You remember when he was at Jackson State, he went after a player, or a reporter, who called him Deion instead of
Coach Prime.
Coach Prime.
Yeah, I do
He went
remember
after the
that.
player. And then, everybody says, well, Coach Prime has, and Coach Prime was the name that they had in the statement. The school called him Coach Prime
Right.
rather than Coach Sanders.
well, because they knew better. Yeah.
I bet you Colorado's officials are probably regretting that they ever hired him. What a mess.
Well,
It's like a
gonna take-
circus.
It's
It's like a
going to
circus.
take another year, and then he'll
Yeah.
leave with his sons.
Probably so.
And then, but
It's a circus
in the
there.
meantime, he's created, I mean, it's a lot of negativity now where it was positive last year.
Right.
Well, he's such a bully and he can't help himself. He was I was going to say, what did he do? Another thing, well, everybody says he has this thick skin.
No,
There's
he
no
doesn't.
thick skin
No.
if you call a guy a bully and say, I'm not going to talk to you.
Right.
Ralphie has a lot thicker skin at Colorado than
Well,
Coach Prime.
remember when he was suited up for the Falcons
Yeah.
and the
Braves.
The Braves
Or the Reds.
in
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
in one day played
Yeah.
both
Right.
games. Tim McCarver came out and called it a circus. He was really negative about it. And Deion threw buckets of ice water over McCarver in the
Yeah,
dugout
afterwards.
or
Yeah.
clubhouse.
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
Well, obviously he doesn't
And
have thick skin.
No, I mean, come on.
All right.
I
Speaking of bullies, Aaron Judge has been bullying everybody lately. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk some more baseball, including the guy who played for the same team in this, or for
Danny
both
James.
teams in the same game. We got all of that coming up, but we haven't even started really cracking the NFL yet, and except for Harbaugh, we got lots to do still on this. Terrific podcast, Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks.
Yes.
Hudson'sOnTheDocks.com, fabulous restaurant on Hilton Head Island. While we're in this quick break, go log in and see all the good stuff they've got. We'll be right back as we continue Under the Bus. Welcome back, Under the Bus. Bob Stevens, along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. Let's get into the purchase of the week. And we're not talking about C.D. Lamb's football contract, $100 and something million.
Pitbull Stadium, you're not
or Pitbull Stadium. Babe Ruth's jersey that he might have hit the called shot with, but might not have, went for $24 million. I've still got my Little League jersey. You think it's worth anything?
I think I'll pay something for that. To have your jersey.
Rich, you've got some Yankee.
I got a lot of Yankee
gear.
stuff, but I never paid $24 million. That guy must have a lot of money just sitting along. I'll tell you a funny story. We're talking about Judge and Mickey Mantle, which was my hero growing up. So I had a Mickey Mantle autograph on a hat, Yankee hat, which when we moved, I put it, we moved the stuff into the garage. When I went to get it, the autograph was gone.
No.
I guess because of the heat, humidity. And then I was at a spring training game with my son, and we just happened to have first row seats, and Judge was signing autographs for these kids. So I was there, and I put out my hat, and he kind of looked at me like, but he took it, and he signed the bill of the hat, underneath type of thing. Yeah. And I brought it home, and one day I went out, and I just took my Yankee hat and put it on, I forgot that his autograph was there. I came back, and I sweated it out.
Oh, no!
So I had a Mantle autograph and an Aaron Judge autograph gone.
We've all been around pieces of memorabilia like that. What's a piece of memorabilia that you've been around that you said, man, I'd like to take this home?
As a kid, I was a St. Louis Cardinal fan,
Right.
so I loved Stan Musial.
Right.
And but I never got autographs and stuff like that. I had Stan's picture in my bedroom, and so I had other people. I had Oscar Robertson.
Okay.
But I never got memorabilia except late in life, a few years ago. I did a story on Morgana, the Kissing Bandit.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about
No.
her? I've not told you stories about her? Well, anyway.
No, you haven't, and I'm
know
sure people
Morgana,
want to
right?
hear. Yeah, I mean, I remember her.
You
yes.
don't remember Morgana? No,
Yes,
you
of
don't.
course he does.
Do you? Anyway,
Yeah.
Right,
here,
exactly.
an
That's what I was going to say that.
exotic dancer who became a national
Yeah, she
figure
used
by
to run on
going
the
out
field.
and kissing.
Right.
Her
Ball
first, I
players,
think, was
yeah.
Pete Rose. I think
That's right.
she's from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
She jumped over the fence on a dare for their girlfriends.
Right.
And that was her first. And then she did everybody. I mean, and the guys went along with it, really. I mean, they were real happy, except a couple.
Yeah.
But she sent me, I got to be kind of close with her, and she's really good friends. I mean, she sends Christmas cards every year to certain journalists, me being one of them. But they're real cute. They'll have Morgana dressed up as Santa Claus trying to get down the chimney, but her breasts are too big. She can't get down, stuff like that. But one Christmas, she sent me her bra. Serious. In fact,
So you have that hanging in your bedroom?
I was going to bring it in and show you, but no, it's there. And she signed it, and she signed it all the way across.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's one thing you guys don't
About
have.
that. We do not, I don't have anything like that, that's for sure. When I was at ESPN, I got to when McGuire broke the home run record. That night, when he was done with doing all his media, he literally stripped down and asked the guy from the Hall of Fame, what do you want? And the guy from the Hall of Fame says, pretty much everything. And they got pretty much everything. And they took it to the Hall of Fame the next day, and I went over to see that process, and they brought home, one of their big locker room bags full of his stuff. I got to touch the baseball. I got to touch the bat. I got to, mess with stuff that is pretty cool stuff.
Right.
We had white gloves on, which, maybe it's going a little overboard.
Right.
But it was really cool stuff that you would love to have, stuffed one of those in my pocket.
Yeah, you didn't hawk anything?
Did you take any pictures?
I got pictures, but McGuire wasn't there, but the Hall of Fame had all
That's
the
pretty
stuff.
cool.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
That would be. That would be neat. I just was curious what you guys would want for.
I have a funny
piece of
autograph story. We have time for it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to a Final Four. I'm sure I saw Curry there. And
Did you get his autograph?
I did not.
You never asked for mine.
I know. I will
Never asked.
I'll get it after we leave here. But that particular, we didn't have tickets to that game. So my buddies and I went to a sports bar. and big screen TV and everything. And all of a sudden, this gentleman comes in, probably 6'5", 6'6", and my buddy says, "That's Sidney Moncrief. He played at the University of Arkansas, was an All-American."
Yeah.
And he sits right in front of us. So my wife always gives me a hard time because I get autographs. So I'm gonna get an autograph and bring it home to my wife. So I get this napkin, and I tap Sidney on his back. I go, "Sidney, would you mind signing this?" And he looks over his shoulder and says, "My name's not Sidney." I go, "Ooh, I'm sorry." I go, "By the way, who are you?" He goes, "Oh, I'm David Thompson."
Oh my gosh.
I go, "That's even better." I go, "That's even better. Could you sign this
Did he
for
sign
me?"
it?
Yeah, he
Did he
did. He
laugh?
did.
How about
He laughed,
that?
Yeah. What did we say? "My name's not Sidney." I go, "I'm David Thompson." That's even better.
That's remarkable.
Yeah,
That
was
was good
fun.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so what got me thinking about all of this is Aaron Judge's stuff is going to start being worth something a whole lot real soon, because he's about to. What do you think? What do you think his odds are to break his own
I think the odds
American
are
League
pretty
home run
good.
record?
I think they're pretty good. I mean,
To get 64?
well, he was 62, so
Oh,
he's got to get to
63.
63.
But
I mean, he's got a chance. I mean, last week he was on a roll.
He hits
you
them
know?
in bundles.
He does. You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's got a whole month, right?
yeah,
Oh,
and he's got that nice short porch in Yankee Stadium where if you just go the other way,
Yeah.
you don't have to hit it a long way.
What's he got, 52?
50, yeah. What day of the week is it?
He's got 11 to go. 11
Right.
to go in the month.
He can do that for
He
sure.
is in his last less than 100 games, 95 games. He has 104 RBIs. He has 45 homers in 100 games. And that's
He also seems
Nuts.
very cool with this thing. He doesn't seem like, Maris lost his
Right,
hair.
right,
And,
right.
and even when he was doing it two years ago, chasing whoever it was, but I get confused, McGuire or Sosa.
So, Sammy Sosa and
But he
McGuire.
broke the Yankee record. Okay?
Correct.
Broke Bruce record.
Correct.
And he was
Yep.
all cool about it. He
Yep.
wasn't, it's
Yep.
not a big
No,
deal.
he handles it really
It
well.
doesn't seem a big deal anymore, all these home runs.
But we're on the East Coast with all
Don't
the
you think?
media, because the guy who's doing it better than that is Shohei, who's 40-40 earlier than anybody had ever done it.
Yeah.
He's got a chance to do 50-50.
Right.
How many
amazing
home
would
runs
that be?
does your boy Bobby Witt have?
I wish he were my boy, because he's in the 30s in home runs.
Is he?
Yeah, he does not have 100 RBIs yet, but he's like 95. The Royals have 3 guys with 96 RBIs,
Pretty darn good.
including their old man catcher,
Like guys that's been around forever?
Salvatore Perez. Yeah,
Perez.
Sal Perez has 96 RBI. Beat the Cleveland last night with a grand slam that was a no-doubter. I mean, like 420 feet, halfway up the bleachers. And he's 35. And now you got to think, gosh, he might be a Hall of Famer. Nobody really ever thought that before, but he was really, really good when the Royals were bad.
Right.
Then he was a World Series MVP the couple of years they were good, and then he has gone through all these terrible years with the Royals, and now they're good again, and he's still there, and still has a great percentage of throwing out base runners.
Right.
And
The Royals have really
amazing.
come on. I mean, a couple of years ago, they were awful.
Yeah.
Rich,
So
to get
terrible.
back-
Last year, they've already won 30 more games than they
Jason.
won last year. I mean, nuts.
The time you misidentified Sidney Moncrief, was Sidney Moncrief there? Was he there?
No. He
It was
was,
just David Thompson?
yeah.
I'm stunned you didn't recognize him.
Well, my buddy said there's
Sidney
Sidney Moncrief, so I just automatically thought, okay, that's Sidney Moncrief.
So the next time the three of us
You
are
were
in a
gonna
bar,
get that for your wife.
I was going to put it
She has
on.
no idea who Sidney Moncrief
I know that, but this is what I would say, honey, this is what I brought from the Final Four.
the next time the three of us are in a bar together, anybody who walks through the door is Sidney Moncrief, right? And we'll get him for sure. One other quick baseball note. We'll get into baseball heavier when it gets down toward the end. Danny Jansen
Oh, yeah.
plays for Toronto in April or May. They trade. He comes to bat in a game against the Red Sox,
He's
and
up
then
at
the
bat.
rain comes
He's
down.
up at bat, yeah.
Yeah,
Rained
and
out.
it rained out. Suspended game, so they actually play it again. So the box score counts. He's in both box scores. In fact, I guess the PA guy yesterday said, batting for Jansen, because he was up at
Well,
bat
he was
when
up
it
at
happened.
bat,
Yeah.
and then
Dalton
then the-
Varsho batting. Defensive change for Boston. Jansen now catching. So he was
And the
catching
guy
when he
that-
was at
the guy
bat.
that batted for
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
batted for him, and then Jansen went to catch, and the guy struck out. So, but it's not Jansen struck out. It's the guy that struck out.
Varsho,
actually
the
struck
pinch
out.
hitter. Yeah. But anyway, it was.
But
That's
it
a,
was-
that's a first, right? That's a first.
That's a first. I'm surprised it's a first because it could. You could see
Sure.
where it could happen.
Yeah.
And I'm also surprised that anybody made a big deal out of it because I don't think it's that big a deal. But
Well,
it happened in
said-
Boston, so it had something.
They said a few years ago Soto did it. Soto did it in the same game. He didn't do it the same game. He hit a home run before his debut. It was one of those things. It was May 15, May 20. Hit a home run. Then the game was postponed. So then he came back and hit another home run. He hit a home run before he hit a home run.
And that actually happened in this
But he
game.
didn't play for two teams.
Yeah,
so
no.
that's not-
But that actually happened in this game. I think George Springer hit a home run for Toronto. Well, was it his 8th of the year because the game started in May, or was it his 18th of the year or whatever it was because now it's August? Crazy stuff. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll tell a couple. We haven't even talked to NFL yet. We got Steelers to throw under the bus. We got Cowboys to throw under the bus. We got Giants probably to throw under the
for
bus. We
sure,
always
for
do, don't we?
Yeah.
We'll come back. Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. Welcome back to Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. Bob Stevens, along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. Okay, we've done baseball, we've done college football. Let's talk a little NFL. You love training camp.
The NFL's coming.
Tell me a training camp, covering training camp, because that has to be.
I didn't ever cover training.
You didn't have to go do the preseason stories?
And I don't love it. I love the stories that come out of
Oh,
it.
that'd
Some
be
of the stupid stories, and these guys get cut, and they don't go to practice half the time. Some of these guys.
They don't play in the games
fake,
any of the
fake
time.
injury, and then they don't want to. They really don't want to do it, right?
No.
These guys.
Today's the
But-
trading day.
but, you know,
Not trading
today's
day.
the cut day.
Excuse me. Today's the cut day.
Tuesday.
Yeah, today.
So we find
Well,
out.
we don't.
I know.
Nobody watches.
Nobody
this
knows
today.
today, yeah. Anyway.
Well, what are your Giants going to do? Because I think has Danny Disaster played since the first game?
No, he
Since
played the
intercepted?
second game. He played the second game and threw it.
Is he as bad then as?
Well, he threw 2 picks, one for a touchdown. But, in fairness to him, everybody's on him about how awful he's looked and so forth. It's his first game back in close to a year when he tore his ACL. I think he tore it last November, I guess, so it's not a year yet. But give the guy a break.
Well, then
It's
why
his
don't they-
first live action. I know they have practice
Why
and all
won't they
these
play
games.
him a lot then in all the games, all the preseason games?
Well, because all the NFL teams don't want to play any of these guys. Aaron Rodgers didn't take a snap in the whole preseason.
And I'm waiting for the first coach to say, well, we just weren't in sync after the opening game.
Right.
Well, we just weren't in sync today. Well, you had 3
Right.
games to get
If
ready.
the guy's going to get hurt,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt in the 4th play of the game. They held him out in the 4th play of the game. He gets hurt in the first.
Right.
So let him play. I'm not saying play the whole game, but let him get some snaps. So I don't, it's the same old thing. You got to have an offensive line. They're playing their backup. So how good is their offensive line this year? Time will tell. I don't know.
But even the quarterback situation for the Giants, they got Danny, and then they were on Hard Knocks, preseason
Right.
Hard Knocks. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
But you could tell the general manager and all the scouts and
Right.
stuff, they were still hoping to either trade up and get one of the
They want to
starting
get
quarterbacks.
May. They want to
They
get your
wanted to
guy.
May. They get it, but anybody they could have taken in that spot.
Right.
Instead, they decided to go with Jones, and you could see Mara would even.
Said go with
remember
him.
he was in the meetings, but he was so disappointed.
Yeah.
And he was so sad that they traded Barkley. Remember they showed him
Right.
coming in, and he was,
Yeah.
crestfallen. And then when the Jones thing came up, right toward the end, they went down to the end. What should we do here?
Yeah.
And I guess the Patriots wouldn't meet their.
Right. Well,
They
the
couldn't get-
Patriots were asking for too much.
couldn't get-
The Giants, and I'm glad the Giants didn't trade for him. I know he's had this last preseason game. He did extremely well, but I'm happy what they did. I think Daniel
Why are
Jones
you
will
happy?
do well.
Well, they're going to bring out, Danny Salami again. They're having
Tommy
to bring out
DeVito.
here.
Tommy
What do
DeVito.
they call him? Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets.
Cutlets.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a great preseason. It was fair. It was fair.
No kidding. I haven't even heard about it.
He's eating too many chicken cutlets.
Rich, what's Jones going to, seriously, if Jones is not good,
They'll draft somebody next year.
but
next
that's a whole year that they
I
throw
know,
away.
but I'm telling you, he's not a bad quarterback.
No.
I think if they give him time, they have some weapons.
They now
They do
do.
have some weapons. You got to give him time to throw.
You picking Neighbors, the wide receiver in your fantasy teams?
Malik name.
I think I might.
Yeah, you
do you
might.
think?
Okay, I'm guessing you probably will. Hey, the Steelers are aren't they proving the axiom that
Unbelievable.
if you've got two quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks?
They
Where-
can make a
Got these two
decision.
big names.
Where's that going? Yeah,
These two big names
Yeah.
come in there, Russell Wilson and
Justin
the guy
Fields.
from
Fields.
the Bears.
the
Yeah.
Bears, and Mike Tomlin, a notably tough guy, tough coach. At one practice, he said they look like the JVs. These were his two
Yeah.
high priced quarterbacks. He said they're playing like
I
JVs.
would go with Fields just because he gives you the option of running. He can run the ball extremely well. Russell Wilson last year was a bust for Denver.
Right.
Fields gives you that other dimension by being able to run the ball, but we'll see.
Nobody apparently likes Russell Wilson. At the
Well,
last
I think he's somewhat of a turd, isn't he?
Excuse me. Excuse us, listeners,
Wow.
viewers.
Under the
You'll be
bus.
running stadium steps after this. All right.
Nice
Holy cow.
No, but really, have people?
Talk to your wife with that.
No, I don't. But do people really believe in him?
No.
Like when he went to Denver last year, he didn't get along with anybody, did he?
Well, and Peyton hates him. Hated.
Well, Sean,
Peyton
yeah.
hated him.
Sean
From
Payton.
the
Because
beginning.
he has
yeah.
all this stuff going. You know, he had an extra office at Dayton, at Denver.
That was a requirement.
Well, he had it. He had his own dressing area or
And
office.
didn't he also travel separately? Didn't he travel
Well,
separately?
he
I
wanted
think?
to. I think he wanted
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Well, I can understand a
Might have
coach.
been able
You know,
to.
when
Yeah.
one of your players puts all those demands in, how are you going to connect with them?
Yeah.
You're here to play football, and you need to be around your teammates.
All right.
Well,
Football.
the team I don't understand is Dallas. What is Jerry?
does?
What is Jerry Jones doing? He does it for drama every year.
Sure.
He doesn't pay these guys.
No.
He finally paid CeeDee Lamb
And
on Monday.
he'll pay, and you know he's going to pay Dak, and you know he's going to
Dak
pay
and Micah
Parsons. Yeah.
But does he just not pay him to get the drama? Still the drama.
I think so.
What-
Well, I think
And
so
then-
too. But then who's their running backs?
Then he said Zeke Elliott's their running
Yeah,
back,
Zeke
which is,
Elliott.
you know.
They got rid of him.
That's like you and me being there.
Right, correct.
If and Jerry said famously early in the preseason when he hadn't done anything else, he said, "I'm all in. We're all in. That's
We're all
his
in.
thing. We're all in."
We're
What does
all
that
in.
mean? He didn't go out and get anybody in the
No.
training stuff.
No, they didn't get anybody.
They didn't get anybody.
But didn't they release Elliott 2 years ago?
Yes,
They
they
released.
did,
So he went to New England. They
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
him
yeah.
back, and now he's their number
He made
one
the team
running
last year.
back.
He made
Yeah.
the team last year.
And it's
Ezekiel.
we'll see.
We'll see. I think they're
I
overrated.
think Zeke is going to be the surprise of the year.
You do?
I think he'll be. I don't.
God.
I don't think he's that bad. I mean, he's
Well, offensive line again.
offensive line. Now their offensive line has problems, and if
Yeah.
they have problems, then
He'll struggle.
yeah. I mean, I think Dak is a better quarterback than people give him credit for, and CeeDee Lamb is terrific. And they've got the weapons, and they've got on paper they're pretty good.
Probably get to the playoffs again and
I'm
lose
curious what this does when all this drama, what it actually does to the team itself. You know, nobody talks about that.
Right.
Here's what
and
it
I
does.
don't know. What do you
Here's
think?
what it does. If they lose 5 games by midseason, if they're not any good, out goes McCarthy.
Yeah, they fire the coach.
McCarthy's got no chance.
He probably doesn't anyway. I mean,
He was always let go
unless
last
they get,
year.
Yeah, unless
he
they
needs
get
he needs to not only make the playoffs but advance.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
U.S. Open tennis. Any thoughts on how it's going to play out?
Well, Djokovic is playing like Djokovic, so he won the Olympics in a great dramatic match with Alcaraz, and so Alcaraz is at the Open. And Sinner, the Italian, has escaped being suspended with his drug stuff. I don't know. I read him. He's like a lot of guys. He'd say, "Oh, it's my trainer or my massage guy."
was the
In this
massage.
case, my massage guy gave me some liquid that's banned. Who knows? And you laugh at these guys but I don't think guys who don't study it know that they're getting banned.
Maybe not.
No, I mean,
Maybe not.
I think
probably
Djokovic, for
legitimately
instance,
didn't
studies
know.
it.
Yeah. Women's side?
And he's a great player. Well, there's Swiatek, there's Sabalenka, there's Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
Which, did I read the other day? She's making more money than any tennis player,
I think she is.
male
with her-
or female.
With her off-court stuff.
really?
Yeah. Huge.
Yikes.
Yeah, making the big bucks.
You should have
She
been
won
a
it
tennis
last year.
player.
Huh?
You should have been a tennis player.
Give us a name, one name,
For what?
for men's and women. Who wins? It's underway.
We got 2 more shows to do before the Open.
Does it take that long to
Come
play
on,
that
it's
thing?
2 weeks.
Well,
2 weeks.
yeah, okay, all right, we'll do that next year. We'll let you
I'll
cut
ta-
through. We'll let that first round of upsets happen, and
I'll take Alcaraz.
you can say you called him. Okay.
I'll take Alcaraz to defend.
FedEx Cup Finals, Scheffler and Schauffele will be playing together probably all 4 days, which will be interesting to watch. They've actually become friends.
Friends.
They actually talked to each other this last week, coming off the course, saying, getting together with the families for later and all
Wow.
that. And
That's cool.
Scheffler gets a 2-shot lead to begin, and we'll see. I think if one of them wins it, they should be the player of the year. Watch
Over
Keegan
the other-
Bradley
over the other-
when they come in
Yeah,
and win the
Keegan
whole
Bradley.
thing. He barely got in, and watch him
You
win the
buried
whole thing.
Keegan badly a couple of weeks ago when I said he might be playing
did.
be a player in the Ryder
Yeah,
Cup team.
yeah.
You buried him.
I did.
But can
I'm
he
still
appoint,
buried in
can he appoint himself as a member of the?
Yes, he
Ryder-
can.
He can.
Well, he
He
can.
can. He is a player, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
He can.
It'd be interesting
Who's
if
the
he does
last guy
that.
to do that? Nicholas Palmer?
Palmer was the
Palmer,
last guy
last-
to play on his own team.
Okay.
And I think it's because Arnold Palmer can do anything he wants. Back in the good day there. Final thoughts from anybody?
I have somebody thrown to the bus.
Throw somebody in.
All right. Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
So he comes out. I'm going to read a quote, if that's all right.
Yeah.
He comes out and says, "I don't think anybody had skill back then. Jordan was the only one that really had skill." So you're telling me Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, all these guys that played back in the day, I think the players were better back then. And I know they say they're bigger and stronger and quicker now, but come on, when you talk about Bird and Magic and Isaiah, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. For him to come out and say they didn't have any skills back then, because Magic,
Of course, they all killed him. They came back at him. Magic,
I know, yeah,
Magic
but-
especially.
you're right.
And Magic usually doesn't get mad at
That's
anybody.
correct.
He just-
That's correct. I
He
think
just
he-
smiles, right?
He got offended.
He said, Magic said, "I never respond to a guy who's never won a championship. He didn't win a college championship. I don't even know if he won a high school championship," which he did. He did in high school. Ant-Man did win a state championship.
Well, Karl Malone didn't win any championships, did he?
Correct. Nope.
Some of these guys.
No, Karl Malone's another great. I mean, think about the players we back in the day.
Oh.
Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah,
Will
they go back
Chamberlain.
to that. They go back to that
That far,
generation.
Will
Those are,
Chamberlain.
yeah.
I got
Oscar
one last
Robertson.
guy.
All right.
One last guy.
All right.
Tampa Bay's Randy Gregory, although I don't think he's Tampa Bay's anymore. He's a terrific linebacker when he's not in crazy town. And he played for Denver last year, but then he filed a lawsuit against the Broncos. He said it was discrimination. They were denying him a drug that he takes for social anxiety disorder. Denver was.
Yeah.
So he left Denver. He signed for Tampa a 1-year deal worth $3 million. I mean, first of all, at Denver, he was hit with $500,000 in fines. So if you ever play with him, he's got no money because you have to pay him back in fines. Now he signs with Tampa for a 1-year deal for $3 million, but you've got certain things you have to do.
Right.
He missed 3 mandatory practices before training camp, 24 days of training camp, and 2 preseason games. He didn't even show up. In other words, he was fined approximately $1,377,549. I mean, he didn't even show up.
Well, who collects that
So
money? Seriously, who collects it? What happens if if he doesn't cut a check for him? What do they do? Cut him?
So
Oh, yeah,
finally,
all you
finally,
can.
they asked Todd Bowles, what about Randy Gray, who's a terrific player when
Yeah.
he wants to play?
Yeah.
And Todd Bowles said, I haven't seen him. He said, I'll never find out. I'll never find out where he went. I wish him the best. You can't miss what you never had. It sounds like Bennifer. That sounds like
Yeah, really.
another feature of the week.
Indeed. Yeah. Bennifer, all done again.
Ben Affleck and
And Jennifer.
Jennifer
yeah.
Lopez, you can't miss what you never had. Of course, they had it a couple times. They had
They had.
twice.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, they had. All right, I'll do it. Because of the timing, I got to do it this week.
Yes, sir.
My Bob Feller story.
Oh, that's a great story.
First of all, a guy I got to know a little bit. He is very much like his image, kind of gruff and grumpy and whatever, but still knew baseball all the way to the end. Died a few years ago at 88. Obviously, great pitcher. Would have won 300 games, but he gave up like 3 or 4 years to the Navy as a pilot. Or he was not a pilot, but was served honorably in the Navy. Anyway, this week is the 88th anniversary of him throwing. On his first start in the big leagues, he strikes out 15 guys. In his second start, he strikes out 17 guys. This is in August, 88 years ago, this week. And then he goes back to finish his senior year, to do his senior year of high school. Yeah, he was still in high school doing that.
Crazy.
And go back. Imagine any athlete who could do that now.
Never happened.
I mean, that's
Never happened.
unbelievable.
Well, they wouldn't even allow it to happen in
fact,
today's world.
we will challenge all of you who are listening and watching us. Imagine what you were doing in the summer before your senior year of high school, and we'll let your imagination run wild, and we'll stop it right there. Hey, we want to thank Justin in absentia. Trey, Mahogany's a little under the weather, but she'll be better next week and be back to help us put this thing on the air. And we thank you guys. We thank
fun.
you guys
Always
especially
fun.
for watching and listening, and we thank the folks at Hudson's for having faith in us. Hudson'sOnTheDocks.com.
Thank you.
Go there. That'll do it for Under the Bus. The bus is full.
Yeah.
We're going back to school. We're going to fill the bus and underneath it next week as well.
Bob, can I
Yes.
just say one thing?
What do you want to say
I
now?
want to give a thumbs up to Hilton Head Prep football for winning their first game. They were 0-23
3 years or
in
so.
3 years and came back and won their first game on Friday night, 19-13.
There you go. From the former athletic director who doesn't have to hire and fire coaches anymore. You're glad of that, I'm sure. All right. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Under the Bus is a production of the Loco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman,